Celebrity Treasure Island starts tonight. What on earth have I exposed myself to? And I think we should probably cold call Suzanne Paul, maybe today or tomorrow we'll do that. It's news time. Here's Media Works Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cocker, and a very good morning.
Hundreds of Christian leaders are pleading with MPs not to let the Treaty Principles Bill get to Select Committee. They say there is a long whakapapa that ties them to the document, including a history full of both pain and promise. Around 440 have signed their name to the letter. The bill is part of a coalition agreement with ACT and will have its first reading later this year. A 19-year-old man will appear in court today over the fatal shooting in Auckland's Grey Lynn. Maxwell Diripia died last week at a Tuarangi Road home and 3 others were seriously injured. The accused faces 1 charge of murder and 3 counts of wounding with intent. Attendees of Queenstown Winter Pride are being encouraged to look out for symptoms of Mpox. The Burdett Foundation says there are suspected cases, all of which have been at events. The Ranfurly Shield celebrations continue across the top of the south. It'll be in Nelson this morning before heading to Blenheim. Campbell Parata, who kicked the winning penalty, has a fan in Marlborough Mayor Nadine Taylor.
Oh my goodness, I'd be surprised if there wasn't a statue and a road naming. The way he stepped up, cool, calm and collected and just said, I'll take that, and then slotted it. I think it deserves both.
Will Jennings, the co-writer of this iconic theme song, has died, aged 80. He won an Oscar for the haunting ballad from the 1997 film Titanic, made famous by Celine Dion. To sport, All Blacks coach Scott Robertson staying positive. Midway through his first season in charge, he's got a 4-win, 3-loss record following twin defeats in South Africa.
You look at what we're doing well, to keep that energy strong in the group and the belief, because it's an important part of that.
Kiwi canoeist Peter Cohen has a message for his kids after winning bronze at the Paris Paralympics.
Yeah, I hope that it was fast enough so they can brag about it at daycare.
New Zealand finished with 9 medals, 4 bronze, 4 silver and 1 gold. Back-to-back wins for Kiwi triathlete Hayden Wild. He's taken out the Super Tri event in London following his victory in Chicago. And second place for New Zealand equestrian Tim Price at the prestigious Burleigh Horse Trials. That's your news in sport.
Takes more than breakdancing to win Test rugby, doesn't it? That's the joke going around on the internet. Now tell me about this. When you play that music from the Titanic, you always instantly know it's Titanic, don't you?
I know, we were thinking what part of the song, and then reporter Courtney said it's just the start. It's that flute. That's all you need. As soon as anyone hears that, you're like...
How many times did you watch it?
I've only seen it twice. First time, my mum skipped past a very obvious scene in the car, so I didn't know there was this whole additional scene.
What was the scene?
I think it's where they kind of get together as a couple for the first time.
Oh, and you
but
were
I was a
seen
kid.
it.
I was a kid. I was like 8, watching it on VHS at my great auntie's
It's
house.
no use shouting it to you. No, it's no use shouting
I've
you.
seen her perform it live.
Have you?
I saw Celine live in
Did you?
Auckland.
What's she
cried.
like?
Bawled my eyes out.
Well, there was a compulsory. You had to cry, didn't you? When you were there?
It was so intense. It was
Really?
embarrassing because I sobbed, but...
How much for a ticket to Celine Dion? She's the biggest
We
in the world.
got them for free through my sister's work,
Oh,
mate.
right,
We
we won't
couldn't
say
make
that.
it, so...
Okay. Nice for some.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, so 4 homicides in 13 days. Not to say that flippantly, 5 in a month. None police say are connected at all. The latest one happened 10 minutes in front of me as I drove home last Thursday evening. Never seen so many police cars roar past me. It just happened right in front of me. I saw the grief, and even last night the family was having a vigil on the street still. I see all this because I live 500 metres up the road from where this Grey Lynn homicide took place. So what's going on in Auckland? A case of people having a beef with people they know, or is it sort of random strangers being killed? What's going on, and should we be worried about this? Or is trouble unlikely to find its way to us? Former top policeman and investigator Lance Burdett is with me. Lance, good to have you on again. Nice to have you here. Is this unusual?
It's not unusual at the moment. In fact, most people that I've talked with are feeling overwhelmed at the moment and have a lot going on in their life. And, you see posts put out, I can't wait till 2025 is done. And we've been saying that since 2020. Every year seems to get worse and worse and worse with all sorts of things. So people are struggling out there. And I guess people, whether we're talking about gangs, whether we're talking about criminals, they're no different to anyone else are suffering the same sorts of things.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, a few months ago when you said we're going to see an uptick in knife crime, gun crime, we're going to see an uptick in this. You were bang on, you were spot on. Not that I ever doubted you, but this is happening now. So you had 4 in 13 days. I bet you that's happened before. I mean, Auckland's a big city now with big city problems, but who takes a loaded gun to a neighbourhood dispute?
Yeah, people who are afraid, people who are angry, mainly the angry and the aggression. And, violence is still going up. It's over 30% now. I was hoping to be wrong. But looking overseas, it's going to continue for some time unless we're able to take control of it. And we must start taking control of it, I guess, within the community itself.
You say at the very start people feel overwhelmed. I think that's the right word as well. It's how you cope with being overwhelmed, though, isn't it? It's your ability to cope with being overwhelmed, isn't it? It's about taking a breath and walking away. But we're not doing that now when previously we have.
Yeah, look, it's an unusual thing. Look, I'll be honest here. I've been feeling the same in the last week or two, right? Just things seem to be that previously we could just push to one side, seem to be insurmountable. And it is really just keep moving forward, literally, and just keep staying the path and doing the right thing. Most of us are getting through this, right? So very few of us are turning to actual violence. So those that are turning there tend to be those that is their first fight reaction, is to actually fight. And it seems to be that's the case.
They don't appear linked in any way. Should we be worried? I mean, as the general public going about our business, I was 10 minutes behind that homicide in Greyland, and the police cars, boy, when they had a presence, they had a real presence, Lance. They were just everywhere. There probably wasn't a police officer in Auckland that wasn't there. Should we be worried? Are we going to get caught up in this as general sort of, consumers and members of the public? Do we have a need to be concerned?
Well, I think we do need to be a little bit more vigilant as to what we're doing, but it's about being respectful for everybody. So you were saying you're just down the road, you're a neighbour, so it's about being respectful with that group of people. And when you see something suspicious, it's about reporting it. So people must be held to account for their behaviour. Now, what I've been saying is not an excuse. It's a reason behind the behaviour, but it's no excuse to turn to violence like's happening at the moment. So it is about being vigilant. And if you see something happen, it is about running away, not staying where you are, and getting your phone out. It's great for police to have all those camera footage, but you're putting yourself at risk. If you're a neighbour, keep away from the windows. If you want to observe something, stand back from the window and look out. Make notes of things, record from back in the distance, and then notify police, and you've got some information to give. So the more information the public can give on these things, the greater the chance of people are being held to account for their behaviour.
And don't think that because there was a gun amnesty, people handed in their guns, that all the people that should have handed in their guns did, because they didn't, did they? I mean, the people with guns now are the cops and the bad guys.
All the honest people handed in their guns.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's correct. And the gangsters
there's
are still
there's no way to pad that one out, Duncan.
No.
Honest people abide the law.
There's also groups of school kids going around as well in Auckland, reportedly with a gun, most definitely with knives. Lining up other students all in around central Auckland. I've heard about this. I know some victims of it. It's even got down to that level now with students now defending themselves or attacking others in this instance, isn't it? I mean, I think in the old days there were fights. I'm definitely not saying there weren't fights, but it was a little bit more honourable. I think you punched someone out and it was all over. You didn't put the boot in. You didn't take a knife or a gun.
No, and that's the thing. That's the fear. We're still having this fear, and the research is overwhelming on this. It was to do with lockdown. We lost control of our ability for freedom, and it happens in wherever there's a major incident of any sort. To a mild degree, it happened after the earthquakes in Christchurch. So it had no home for a longer period of time. So the longer the brain stays in a stress state, the longer the time we're going to be working our way through it later on. And as a result of that, people are just feeling panic. I even hear people these days say, oh, no, nothing's affecting me. I say, well, how are you sleeping? And the first thing they say is, oh, goodness me. Well, that's a sign of what's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
And so really it is about understanding what's happening and being, I'm sick of hearing people saying about being patient. It's about being respectful. It's about being mindful of yourself.
I think that
first,
vigilance,
right?
The vigilance word that you use is important too.
It's
Just being your awareness
of
things.
Just focus on that.
Your awareness. Where are you? What time of night is it? What's around
it.
you?
But then we're walking around fearful. So when we talk about this whole thing about situational awareness, it's just about standing tall, going about your business, and looking around using all of your senses. There's certificates, there's masters in this stuff. It's simply using all your senses, just looking around, being strong, not looking like a victim, going about your business. See, the thing about what's happening at the moment, and particularly sort of going to go on a bit of a tangent here towards gangs, we're looking at the government's looking at changing some laws. All that's going to do is drive it underground, right? Now, we might feel safer, but we won't be safer. Being safe is about going about our business and holding people to account for their behaviour. If other people are respectful for you, you'll be, and you're respectful to them, then we can go on about that. in New Zealand, I think we're more have a culture of community than any other country. So we can't compare ourselves to other countries in the world. We are quite unique in our ability to know our neighbour.
Yeah, well, I think we've lost a lot of that too, though. Lance. I think we've lost a lot of this community neighbourhood watch and looking after each other.
It's only because of one thing that we've lost it. It's we're just feeling fractured and apart because we were driven into an environment where the only place we feel safe now is at home. And for some, as in your neighbourhood, they're not even feeling safe there. No. You know, it's not about those neighbours, though. It's the people coming in to see those neighbours. They're the ones that are causing the harm. It's not the neighbours themselves. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, they were from west and south. Yes, that's right. Now, that's right. So those coming in to see them.
Do people? Yeah, exactly. The travellers. Do people? When they die from homicide, do they usually know the person who's killing them, or are they complete strangers? What does that sort of history tell us?
Well, over 50% of homicides are the person is known to the other person. So it's over 50%. The rest are just crimes of in the moment, just being there.
So we should take some comfort from that. That if you surround yourself with good people and if you go about your business properly, then you'll be okay. I mean, it's very, very unlikely to get caught up in this stuff. It would be like winning lotto. You know, it's pretty rare, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, Lance, always appreciate your time on the program. Always clear, always direct, and I really appreciate it, mate. Take care.
Yes, thanks, Duncan.
Okay, all the best. Okay, Lance Burdett, of course, former retired cop and investigator.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty rare to get... I mean, God, they were there last night too. The family was there last night, having a vigil out on the street, sitting in their plastic chairs, 10, 11 at night. What a huge loss, an 18-year-old boy. 18-year-old boy barely started living. And he's gone. Right, let's do 3 questions. It is time.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief. 1.
And number 1, how many councils fell into line with the government's wish to ditch local Māori wards? Wait for it, just 2. Only 2. So 43 or 45 councils actually pulled the government the one-fingered salute and said, we want to keep them. So now they must ask the public via referendum what they want. This now gets nasty and divisive and expensive, and I blame Chris Luxon for even entertaining this idea. Get a backbone, Christopher. Stand for something. I mean, what modern country in the first world in 2024 is all about slamming the door shut on the Indigenous minority, punching down? You look like a bully boy and pathetic. I'll have more to say on this shortly. At number 2, tourism. Have you noticed we're lacking tourists at the moment in New Zealand? It's because we never recovered after COVID, and we remain 20% down on tourists, which means we're not getting the money coming to the country like we were. It's hurting some tourism operators. We need bums on seats, and right now we've got empty seats by the looks of it.
3.
And number 3 tonight, 7:30pm. Oh dear, TV2, and tomorrow and Wednesday, and repeat. You're about to get bombarded with Celebrity Treasure Island season 6. If you want some light entertainment, tune in. If you wish to laugh at me, tune in if you want to see the show's first villain emerge as well. Don't miss tonight. That is us. Good morning.
Duncan Garner, live.
Right, we're in morning. It's time to talk sport. Johnny Day from the Sporting Rumble and MediaWorks Sports News.
I'm in celebration mode, Duncan.
Because
I'm a Tasman Markle fan.
Well, you are, because you're Crusaders in Tasman, yeah.
And we have got the Ranfurly Shield, finally. I watched Nelson Bays as a kid in 1991 lose 76-0 to Auckland.
Yes.
And I thought that's as close as I'll ever get to the Ranfurly Shield at Trafalgar Park.
You've got it.
And now we have it.
Thanks
to Marlborough as well. Well, it's weird because growing up Nelson Bays, we hated Marlborough. And when it was
split, wasn't it?
Yeah, then the amalgamation happened in 2006, and it was kind of nasty a little bit as well because Nelson were the big brothers, and I think Marlborough had to sell their home ground and everything, so there were teething problems. But we came together, we came right, we got promoted from the championship to the premiership.
Yeah.
We won the premiership twice, and the last thing that we haven't done is get the log of wood. So to do that with a full-time penalty from close to halfway against Hawke's Bay was just so dramatic and just adds another brilliant chapter to the greatest sporting trophy in New Zealand.
I'm with you on the greatest sporting trophy. You sit next to Gary, of course, our head of news. He's a Hawke's Bay guy. You guys talking?
With all due respect, sucked in, Gary. Absolutely sucked in. Hawke's Bay didn't know how to treat the shield. They broke it. They allegedly had white powder on it.
No.
The only thing that was on it yesterday morning was a can of Coke.
Yeah, exactly.
It went
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly. As it went from Napier to Nelson to its true home. So I'm loving it.
It is exciting, though. I remember the shield, growing up. The shield was just the battles, I remember North Harbour trying to grab it a couple of times.
Yep.
Then Canterbury had it in North Harbour. I think got it from there.
North Harbour had a famous one against Canterbury back in the day.
Right.
It was awesome. Yeah, Absolutely, what a player he was. But now we've got to put it up against Wellington on Sunday. And Wellington are unbeaten. We're unbeaten.
Should have mentioned a 1 week wonder.
Yeah, well, I think the All Blacks are going to come back and bolster both sides. So we'll probably get David Havili, Noah Hotham. So that'd be very handy at NPC level.
Yeah, you'll need those guys. Speaking of...
they didn't play in South Africa. No. And our guys didn't play in the second half, as per usual now.
What's wrong with them?
I don't know, mate. Well, let's start with South Africa being
great side,
an unbelievable side, and
number one,
right up there with in terms of best international teams you've seen, right? 1991 Wallabies, 2015 All Blacks. The Springboks team is up there.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
you go
teams.
through their team and you're just like, wow. And you go through their bench and you're like, wow. Whereas we
incredible depth
have got some holes in our side. So much so, we didn't even go to our bench with Sam Darry. He sat there for 80 minutes, didn't get on.
Did they not have confidence in him?
Well, I think Tupou Vaa'i was playing so well, and you don't sub your captain and Scott Barrett, although Foster used to sub Sam Cane as captain. But yeah, we've just got an issue with second halves and closing out games. And man, we need someone clutch, Duncan, like Damian McKenzie right in front of the post to put us ahead with 8 minutes to go.
It's like the World Cup final. It's like the World Cup final. You know, you've got to get the kicks.
You've got to get your kicks. And we didn't even go to Geordie Barrett for the long range one that McKenzie took. He tried to kick one from 55 out, which I've never seen him do
Barrett
before.
Can do it though, can he?
Yeah, so he's not doing any of that. And then we're just dropping the ball. I think Scott Barrett, the ball literally hit him in the face at one point. Sevu Reece was busy barking out orders while Malcolm Marx comes around the blind side and scores.
But did you not see that blind side? I mean, there's a big blind side. And Malcolm Marx is God, he's on the bench for South Africa.
Yeah, I know.
One of the greatest rugby players in the world.
They're bloody good, South Africa, and hats off to them. Deserve both wins. But at least we're not the Wallabies.
I said that in my intro about 10 minutes ago. 67 points against them.
They were winning, Duncan, 20 points to 3 after half an hour.
I saw that.
64 points conceded in 50 minutes.
They looked really good up until then. I thought Australia looked quite expensive.
It's just how do you explain that? Well, just everyone just lost it. Like, this is a team devoid of confidence with a new coach trying new systems, I imagine.
Sorry, is this the All Blacks or Australia?
Oh, this is, we're not that bad, but both similar excuses. So, the two worst teams in the Rugby Championship will play each other for the Bledisloe Cup.
And they've traditionally been the two best teams as well.
Yeah, so tough times. We keep the faith, don't we? He's got a bit more rope than Fozzie had, but not much.
He has got more rope. We're giving him we've given him a honeymoon until now. We gave Fozzie nothing.
Yeah.
We put the boot in and we were pretty nasty looking back. Razor has got not much more rope to go, I wouldn't have thought. We've given him a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't lose the Bledisloe. Not to these Wallabies.
But he doesn't. No. Just no. Where are they playing those games?
First one is in Sydney, and I think the second one is in Wellington? Are we back in Wellington?
I hope
the
not.
graveyard?
They should move it.
Oh, gosh.
Move it.
Yeah, get the New Zealand Rugby Union.
Move it to Tasman.
To me, exactly. Trafalgar Park, the home of rugby.
Yeah, it is now.
Mate, Paralympics overnight is all done. Peter Cowan, canoeist, won our last medal, which was a bronze. So 9 medals for New Zealand, including a gold to Anna Grimaldi yesterday in the 200-metre sprint, which was awesome. NRL, we know who the top 8 are.
Yep.
Now the Knights beat the Dolphins yesterday to secure 8th spot.
What about Cronulla?
Cronulla smashed my Manly Seagulls 40-20 yesterday, but we didn't have Tom Trebojevic, which is our player. He's our guy. So we're a one-man team, and it's Tommy Turbo.
Could the Cronulla win it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it's either the Storm or the Panthers or the Roosters. Manly play the Dogs in the first knockout game. Storm against Sharks, and Friday Roosters against Panthers.
What a great game.
Good that will be. We've got Test cricket today.
What?
Black Caps fans, we're playing Afghanistan and India from 4:30 this afternoon. It's the first of 6 Test matches over the next 2 months.
6?
On the subcontinent. So 1 against Afghanistan, 2 against Sri Lanka, and then 3 against India.
How are we going to go? I mean, we could lose these, right?
Yeah, definitely on the subcontinent and the way that we go. I mean, we lost at home to Bangladesh a couple of summers ago.
I don't know if our cricket's that strong at the moment, is it?
Not as strong as it's been. Remember, we were the World Test champions not long ago with this side that was sensational with Wagner, Bolt, Ross Taylor, BJ Watling, and they've gone. Kane Williamson is still there. Tim Southee's the captain. He's still there. And we've got a few guys who are just there or thereabouts. Tom Latham's kind of there or thereabouts. Daryl Mitchell, Glenn Phillips. These guys are there kind of prove themselves.
They're not BJ Watling, are they?
No.
You could rely on Watling to come in at whatever 7, 6, 8, whatever it was, and get a ton.
Yeah, those were
God,
the good
he's a
old days.
reliable guy,
Geez,
wasn't he?
we were just reminiscing on when the All Blacks and the Black Caps were good this morning.
Let's just put everything on repeat.
Yeah. US Open tennis right now. Jannik Sinner is leading Taylor Fritz 2-0. So it looks like the world number 1 will win the men's title. The women's number 2 won that. That was Arena Sabalenka. And America's Cup. There was a storm and then there was no wind. But in the meantime, Orient Express, the French syndicate, managed to nosedive their boat and do serious damage. Now they need to beat Ineos Britannia tonight, or else they're gone. That's the first challenge out.
Within 2 weeks. God, my God. And New Zealand can race if they wish to, right?
Yeah, we've got a race against American Magic. That will be it. We're not allowed in the Challengers Series after the round robin, which concludes overnight tonight.
Right, we wrote those rules, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know how it works.
I do, mate. Cheers, mate.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll watch the Americans Cup. I know people say, it's a rich man's sport, all that sort of thing. It is. It's all the elite stuff. It should be here. You want to kickstart a depressed Auckland waterfront? Well, bring the America's Cup here. So it's an economic event. It should have been here. It is. Don't give me. What a fuck. I tell you what, it just drives me crazy what Dalton did. He had no right to do it, but he did have every right because we didn't write the right sort of contracts. We gave him $300 million over 20 years, and then he walked away from us. An asshole.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Right, I reckon Chris Luxon's walking a tightrope on Māori issues. And his views must be hard to reconcile someday. Certainly he has different messages for different audiences, right, doesn't he? So one day he is sitting on the Tūranga Waiwai, marae, with the family of the late Māori king and shedding a tear and showing emotion. And then the next day he's pulling down Māori wards from councils. How that empowers the people, I have no idea. But there's no doubt this government via Winston and David Seymour has set out to attack things Māori, knowing it's a good populist dog whistle. And Luxon, without a spine to harp on about, has lamely allowed the race debate to take hold. In fact, Seymour is just a younger version of Winston, really. And I have little doubt he's admired Peters and his politics for some time. He's lifted much of it as well for his own advantage. So take the government's intention to abolish Māori wards at council level. 43 of the 45 councils had a vote and they came back saying the Māori wards were great. They were effective and they couldn't do without them. And because of that, a whole series of referenda must now take place around the country. Even some of the country's most conservative small town mayors fronted up and said nothing wrong with these Māori wards. Bugger off, government. Leave us alone. But this government is going in search of a race debate and a racial divide. It's whipping up a storm where one does not have to exist. So you strip Māori of hard-fought rights gained over decades and watch the civil war and the protests take place. That's what's going to happen. But the government has ended up with egg on its face. Only 2 of 45 councils voted to abolish the wards. 43 said, actually, we quite like these. We're doing things, and yep, let's keep them. Councils had a deadline of Friday to decide whether to remove their Māori wards, after the government passed legislation forcing councils to remove Māori wards or hold a binding referendum, right? That's about their existence. The debates in council chambers about this topic have been highly emotive, drawing protests for those that voted to remove them and passionate speeches about the place of the Treaty of Waitangi as well, and local government. The outcomes of these votes show a growing division between local and central government. Who's right? Who's out of touch here? Is it local government or central government? But they're miles apart on this. What is offensive about a Māori ward seat? Can someone just tell me now? Send me a note. Send me a message. What's offensive about a Māori sitting around the council table? There could be 8 Pākehā, 1 Māori. What's the bloody problem? I'm looking for it. What's the issue? Go and tell me. Send me a message right now. Make it easy for me. What's the problem? Not only have almost all impacted councils voted to retain their Māori wards, some of them say they want to ignore the government's demand to hold referendums now. Some councils, such as the Palmy North one, are seeking legal advice about refusing to hold a referendum. They go like that. Stick it to the government. Wouldn't that be messy? Councils from around the country are refusing to engage in referendums, which have to take place according to the law. So they're telling the government to get stuffed. I find the whole exercise a complete waste of time and money. Millions of dollars of parliamentary time and resources. Hoops of hot air wasted on a meaningless exercise that will not make our economy go even the slightest bit stronger or faster. A genuine distraction and a waste of time, and I blame the PM for not having the balls or nous to stop it in its tracks. Indeed, by doing nothing, Luxon's encouraging the debate, and I bet you this. I bet you in the downtime at the Kingi's Tangi last weekend, Luxon never made mention to the local Māori that, hey, I've got some good news, we're abolishing the Māori wards. I bet Luxon made it look like it was someone else's policy. I bet you he did.
Duncan Garner, live.
Right, as you know, we've partnered up with About Health to bring you this podcast. So I just want to thank them for their support. Without them, it's hard to make this sort of product. So thank you to About Health for their ongoing support. And I think we should tell you a bit about them. They make a number of products that support joint, heart and brain health. I say this all the time. The big one is Leicester's Oil. They also do a very, very good job with the magnesium as well. A little earlier, I spoke to About Health's Naturopath Julie, who joined me in the studio.
Lovely to see you, Duncan.
Welcome back. Now, element 12, which is magnesium, it's effectively magnesium, isn't it?
It is. That's the primary thing. We like to have lots of things in there. That's what we do. So we've got a smattering of B group vitamins and a little bit of zinc and selenium in there as well.
So what does that do? So if people listening to this, if they say, oh, yeah, I use that, well, what will it do to you? What will it help?
Do you know, I've written down in our notes that magnesium helps with over 300 biological processes in the body, but I was listening to something the other day and it said 600 minimum. So
wow.
We need it for so many things that we don't even realise.
Do you know, of all the things that we talk about, I reckon this is crucial. I think magnesium is just one of the most crucial things I've found in my life.
Yep.
You know, I don't know if it balances me, it calms me, there's something about it.
Well, the reason a lot of people take it, sleep would be one reason. If they're stressed, so helping with relaxation, helping the nervous system, and muscle twitches, cramps, spasms, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's helping to relax nerves and muscles.
Okay, so what is magnesium?
It's an element.
Yeah.
So it's one of the essential minerals basically that we need to be taking all the time. And I think when you're stressed, your requirement for it goes up.
And so how do you get this if you don't buy element 12? How would you get it otherwise?
Well, you can get it in your diet. So leafy greens like spinach, almonds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. I think actually really high. They're good in zinc too. So pumpkin seeds are a good one. But you have to eat a lot. Yeah.
Might be simple just going and buying some of this.
Yeah.
So what will it and what can it do for people in terms of other parts of their health?
It's really good for the heart as well. It's really helpful for the blood pressure. If we think about it, it's helping to relax muscles and nerves and things like that. It can help to relax the blood vessel walls, you know what I mean? We need them to constrict and expand.
Yes.
So we need both of that going on. So it's helpful in that way. There'll be other ways too amongst those 600 processes. But that's one way I can think of.
So we call it E12, don't we, or element 12.
Yeah, E12,
who would benefit? Who benefits from this sort of product?
I think loads of people, like you were saying, it's so important. People that are exercising a lot, people that are maybe a bit stressed out, anyone who's struggling with sleep issues, it's worth giving it a go. Yeah. Or like I said, the muscle cramps and twitches. So
when people go into the chemist or whatever and they see all sorts of different products, magnesium, what's a good one? What makes a good one?
That's a really good question because there's so many products out there and so many forms of magnesium. So if you do a little bit of research, first of all, you want to look at the total amount of elemental magnesium. So there's often two numbers. One is the compound, so it's always bound to something, and one is the elemental. So you want a decent dose as well. We've got 200 milligrams of elemental magnesium, but we use 3 different forms.
And that's good, right?
That's really good. So we made sure that they're gentle on the stomach, so you're not going to have a surprise laxative effect. No one wants that. But also the body can absorb it and use it.
And does it need to be taken alongside anything else? Or is it within this product?
Well, exactly. That's the B group vitamins are really good on their own for the nervous system and lots of other things. But we put them in there because they help the body to utilise the magnesium.
So what should you take? What's your sort of how much should you take every day?
Well, we've got 200 milligrams elemental magnesium per capsule in ours, and I think for most people that's pretty good. But it depends on what's going on with your body. You can take a lot more. So migraines, for example, you might have...
I've used it for migraines, and I reckon because I had some bad migraines, and I would have to shut myself into my room in the dark, so I'd close the curtain so I didn't see anything, and it would be thumping really deep inside my head. Usually after rugby. And so I started taking magnesium, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, and I think I may have had 1 or 2 migraines since. Now, I don't know if magnesium, I'm not saying, it fixes amazing, but I reckon it has.
Yeah, it's one piece of the puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you could definitely take higher doses. So if you had, for example, a migraine where you felt it coming on, don't just take your daily dose. You can go higher.
You can go with stress. There's no sort of side effect or anything?
You can go pretty high with magnesium. I would say without talking to someone, don't go higher than 600 milligrams. That's a high dose, and don't do that for every day.
You know, the best thing I used it for was when I was on the AM show, and you'd have to get up at 2:30. Which meant you had to go to sleep pretty early, right? So it just powered me down. It was like just landing a chopper, just,
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Look at some of the reviews here online. I've looked at this. So this is from Autumn, who says, wow, this element 12 magnesium works like absolute magic for migraine and tension headaches. See? Just one capsule helps me enormously. Thank you, About Health. What a lifesaver.
Awesome.
Have you got some feedback in there too, I think?
Yeah, I do. This one is from Joy, who tells us it helps with relaxing at night for a good sleep. no more horrible leg cramps. So
See, that's the other thing,
Yep.
And also, Duncan, there's another one here, definitely sleeping better. Taking element 12 at night gives me a good sleep pattern and I definitely feel better rested, says Gil.
Yeah.
One more from you?
Yeah, what have we got here? Hazy, who says, highly recommend it. It's a brilliant product. It helps to calm my jumpy legs and adds to a good night's sleep. Yeah, well, twitchy legs, people have this.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. Oh, and they like the fast delivery too. Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So it's good delivery?
Yeah.
Yep, gets to people really quickly.
Yep.
Look at this, here we go. Excellent product. Placed the order and I received it the next day. In these times, that is lightning speed. We're on a keto diet and suffered from lack of sleep and terrible leg cramps. Element 12 is ideal, sugar-free, wheat-free and other nasty stuff free, and it gives us all the help we need to continue our journey towards better health. Thank you, About Health, says Jutta.
Brilliant.
Nice to see you, Julie.
Thanks, Duncan.
Okay, so Judy from About Health, and if you want to get hold of them, it's abouthealth.co.nz. Head to the website right now. Lots of deals going on. I personally recommend them. The knee's going all right. Much better than it was. This is always working. So head to abouthealth.co.nz and it's all yours. It's all yours. Go for it.
Duncan Garner, live.
So that's us. Before we head away, a bit of feedback coming in. Duncan, Māori and New Zealand European, this is from James, are our two major ethnic groups and should have equal say at every level of government. One Māori seat, two Pākehā seats sounds about right. Anyone opposed to this needs help, says James. Well, that's kind of what they tried with the water bill. They tried one for one, didn't they? They got them in all sorts of stick there. You got to take people with you when you make changes like this. You have to take people with you. It's about communication. You got to take people with you. But just going out there and saying no, we're going to take away the Māori ward. Why? Why are you targeting the Māori ward, Mr. Luxon? And if you're so principled, then take away the Māori seats from Parliament. If you're so principled, take those seats away too. MB says sitting our land without justice isn't democracy either. It's robbery. Says MB. Dave Monster says, is one of those people that supports Hobson's pledge. I bet MB gave $5. Thanks for that, mate. Racial division as a means for political or economic gain is a direct path to conflict and worse outcomes for all. Plenty of ways to deal with Māori outcomes other than division. I agree. Division sucks. Division takes a country nowhere, and that's where we're at right now. Yeah, thanks for the $5, MB. We got $10 the other day too, so we must have a bit in the bank now. Let's have a look at that, eh? Well, yeah, we'll get a bit. They might be both, yeah. So MB arguably cut his or her contribution in half. Duncan, it's not democracy. It's a slippery slope. Duncan, you sound like a scared boomer or an ex-supporter. No, it's not for me. That's for someone else. Who supports Hobson's pledge? Not many people left, I bet. That's what it says. That's what Dave says here too. Okay, that is us. The problem, Duncan, is that they're not voted in. There are nearly as many Asians in New Zealand. Do they get a seat? Are they tangata whenua? If you wanted to give everyone a seat, then you go around and you probably give 90 seats to people. The Asian people came after the Māori, didn't they? Well, that's certainly what I was told at school. And so as the First Nations people, tangata whenua get a seat at the table, don't they? That's what the treaty's allowed for, don't they? Or am I wrong on this? Are they the same as everybody else? Right, that is us, folks. God, this is going to get us into trouble, isn't it? Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live with Estes Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. Use code Duncan for 10% off, abouthealth.co.nz. That's the website. Take as directed, read the label, About Health Auckland. You can call them right now. They're people on the phones, and they have the ability to talk to you right now and cut you a deal. Say my name, and you get 10% off. 0800 999 309. It works. 0800 999 309. People by the phones right now. That's us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for your feedback. Lots of it still coming in. God, you're scrapping over race. This is exactly what they wanted, a scrap on race. I think it's a complete waste of time. Full of jerks. I'm Duncan at rover.nz to my team. Isaac, Forrester and Zarina. Thank you, guys. We'll do this again tomorrow. Remember, life is no dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth, so get out and enjoy it. Have a great day. Take care, folks.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.